So yes, kindness is very important. Even just asking them, how is your day today? Or do you have food today? I give you 1,000 shillings, go eat something. And it's not only for them. At the end of the day, it's how you feel about yourself when you do those small things. It doesn't have to be thousands and millions of shillings. It could be only 500 shillings. But if it makes you feel good, it satisfies what you're doing in life, the purpose of your life.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast series, Crucial Conversations. I'm Sukaina Takim. I'm a psychologist and mental health counselor, and your host for this podcast series. Today, my guest will share her personal journey, detailing how she cultivated confidence and self-esteem to reach a level of the trueness to herself. So welcome, Karibu Sana Sajida Bai. It's a pleasure to have you on with us today. Maybe we can start off with you giving us a little bit of a timeline on your journey and how you went and made your way up to where we are today.
Thank you so much. My name is Sajida Master. I started off as a teacher, taught in Al-Muntazir School, and then from there on I went to become a career counselor. I work for Africa Federation Education Board, and from there on I did a course in cognitive behavior therapy, and at the moment I'm pursuing a bachelor's degree in psychology and counseling. I'm in year 2, challenging work, but I'm hoping to become a psychologist soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. That's wonderful. So you've had a lot of stepping stones leading you up to where you are today.
That's correct.
That's great. Wonderful. And I think we need as many psychologists as we can. Wonderful. Okay. So let's delve into what we're going to discuss today. So in the kind of broader kind of mental health realm that we find ourselves, and it comes on a spectrum. So we do tend to find the severities leading towards, addictions or severe depression, the severe psychotic illnesses, and a lot of focus goes on those. And I know we've had topics on that discussed previously on the podcast, but today I want us to discuss self-confidence and self-esteem and those kind of things that kind of take a step back or can fall off the tracks a little bit. Maybe a good starting point would be if you can tell us what the difference is between self-confidence and self-esteem.
So this is an important topic. We actually see lots of, especially women and teenagers, falling into these kind of things, and their self-esteem is very low. So self-esteem is how you feel about yourself from inside, while self-confidence is your confidence or in your ability to do. So I could have confidence in something, but my self-esteem could be very low. Or I could have good self-esteem, but my confidence in some kind of, for example, in public speaking would be low. So this is the difference. However, they interact each other. When you have good self-confidence, you can even build a better self-esteem.
Okay, so related, but also on
Different.
Their own path.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So yes, we know it's important, but how important is it? And where do we find ourselves today in terms of self-confidence and self-esteem? Is there any trends that you're seeing do people really struggle with this?
They do. As I said, most women struggle with a lot of self-esteem, especially those mothers who have to work, who have children, and we are living in a male-dominated world or a male-dominated community. So I see a lot of women who suffer from self-esteem. I'm not saying that men don't, they do have their issues as well. But as a woman, as a person who likes to empower women, I see a lot of women suffering from there. And it's very important to talk about this, because when you have low self-esteem, your whole life changes. You don't have confidence, you feel worthless, you your decisions about your family, your communication skills, they all go down. So it's very important for us to discuss this and empower women, children, men as well, to develop self-confidence as well as self-esteem.
Okay, interesting that you say that. Do you find that women who have lower self-confidence or lower self-esteem tend to second guess themselves?
Definitely. When you feel worthless, you either second guess yourself, or you don't even have the energy to do new things or to grow. You don't even come out and say, okay, I'm doing this to grow. You don't want to face challenges. You just are in your own world of feeling worthless about yourself. So it's very, very important that we bring this up and educate our community, help them how they can build the self-confidence.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so before we get into that, I know we will discuss ways to bring up self-confidence. I want us to hear your journey and your path to building that self-confidence and that self-esteem.
So I have been in the community for a very long time. I'm a mother, so I was with my daughter, helping her with everything in life. However, I was a very bad public speaker. I hated public speaking. I never wanted to speak in front of people. As part of development society in the madrasa, when it came for me to speak in front of people, I wouldn't do that. When my daughter left for university, my nest became empty and I started thinking, what am I doing? What is my life? And that's when I started thinking I need to have my own identity, because my identity, however much I was working in the community, was still a mother. At the end of the day, my priority was being a mother. And now that being a mother was away from me. So what would I do? And that's how I started. I came across Toastmasters. It's an international community where they but it's a public speaking club. And we learn about public speaking, communication, leadership. I joined in because I was forced to join in by one of my friends. And I'm thinking, I can't do this. This is not my cup of tea. As usual, when we say, this is not my cup of tea, I'm not going to do it. It's been 5 years I'm in Toastmasters. And I should say, this place actually built my confidence. I'm able to speak in public. I'm able to speak in a group of people. I was a good teacher. I could speak with my students. But when it came to a group of 5, 6 people, there was no way I could raise my voice. I remember one of my bosses said, she doesn't like to introduce herself, so I'm introducing her. She's Sajida Master, and the rest of the things. And I just sat looking, keeping quiet. I hated the mic. But if you look at me now, Toastmasters has given me that confidence to stand up, that confidence to see that I'm worth it. I know what I am doing, and I'm not scared of being judged anymore.
Wow, that's that's quite a journey. And I think from what I see that passion, and I see the growth, that kind of personal growth. And kudos to your friend who put you in and threw you in the deep end. But I think she saw the potential that you have, and you have proved it. And you're still in Toastmasters, and you're still growing, and you're a wonderful speaker. And again, the mic doesn't scare you, so that's wonderful to hear your journey. And I can see the personal growth. I can see the confidence and the belief in your abilities. And I think that is so important. Everybody should have that belief in themselves, that I have a purpose and I know what I want to do. And whatever that purpose is, whatever small, big, whatever it is, but everybody has value. Okay, great. Okay, I think now we can jump in. Now that we've heard your story, let's jump into ways people can implement strategies or tips or techniques in improving or building on theirs. Everybody has the confidence and the self-esteem, but how do we build on it? How do we improve it? How do we feel like we're worthy?
So I would say the first step is stop comparing yourself with others. You are your own competition. Everybody is in their own journeys. We are not in the same path. So stop comparing yourself. I started studying at the age of 48. And I've seen some others younger than me having the same degree. Okay? So everybody is in their own path. You will see people's children, especially us mothers, we tend to compare our children with other children. Oh, she's studying well, she's got A's and B's, and why can't I do that? Am I not a good mother? That's why my child. Everybody's journey, everybody has their own skill set. So when you stop comparing yourself, you believe in yourself and your skills. You don't necessarily have to have an A star to be the most confident or most self-assured person. So I feel that is at the moment with the social media, we tend to compare ourselves a lot. This is one thing, if we can overcome this, we can build our confidence as well as our self-esteem. Another thing I say is surround yourself with positive people. So again, I'll talk about Toastmasters. When we go to Toastmasters and we start giving out a speech, we have evaluation. And those evaluations help us grow. But those evaluations are not negative evaluations. They'll tell you what you did better and how can you grow from there. And then you have a lot of support, people who would come and, oh, you did well. How can I help you? And this is where I learned support does not mean criticism. Even when they tell you, how can you improve? You need to work on that, but in a positive way. So I learned all about supportive people in Toastmasters. The next thing you can do is take care of yourself. Now, this is a vast subject. There's so many ways you can take care of yourself. But I believe if you have a healthy body, your mind is healthy and your soul becomes healthy. And that's healthy eating good food. Sleep is important. Exercise. Personally, I don't exercise as such, as I don't go to any classes, but I go for walks every evening and I walk along the Tanzanite Bridge. And it's not only for my health, but mental health is important, because as I walk with the breeze and the ocean, I start thinking of my day, what I've done, what am I supposed to do tomorrow, how I can improve myself, what are things that I need to, what negative things happened today that I need to forget about it and just move on from there. So I feel my mental health really improves when I do go for a walk in the evenings. And I would really recommend walking or any kind of sports if you enjoy sports, or yoga. These are the things, or meditation. If you enjoy, do something that calms your mind and that makes you think how to move on, how to make your day better tomorrow. One of the things is self-accounting at night. And this is also told to us by Imam Jafar Sadiq. At the end of the day, you start self-accounting. And I feel what we can do is we say, what am I grateful for today? What I've done? What are the things that I need to just remove from my mind? Maybe the boss shouted at you, no point, or a co-worker said something that you just want to forget about it. It's not going to matter in another 10 years' time, or it's not going to matter in a week's time, actually. So these are the things that you think when you start exercising. Positive, self-positive talk, which is very important as well. So as I go on my walk now, I start thinking, okay, I can do this better, I can do that better. So I'll tell you, when I was studying in my second year, my first module, I failed the module. And I'm thinking, okay, now what? And I'm telling my daughter, you know what? I don't think so I can do this. Let's just forget about studying. She goes, no, failure, if you don't fail, then you are not studying. And that made me think, okay, so failure is part of my journey. And I took it up very positively. I spoke with my university professors and I learned how to move forward from it. And I reset for the paper and Alhamdulillah, I passed. So these are some of the challenges. This grows your self-esteem as well. The challenges that you want to work on. The challenges should not put you down, rather than they should make you feel, what can I do to move forward from there? And that's when you know you've grown.
Let me stop you there. And I think that's a fantastic point in terms of you need the obstacles and you need to overcome those obstacles so that you reach that goal that you've set yourself. Nobody has that smooth line to their goal. And we learn through failure. We learn through those ups and downs. And we learn through those challenges that get thrown on our path. So that's wonderful. And it's very brave of you to to share such personal details about your journey.
So you have to face your fears. And again, at this age, studying online, sitting for online classes, working, having a house duties. I mean, it's not easy, but this was my fear, that I won't be able to do it. But I'm facing it head on. I can do it and I will do it. Doesn't matter if there are obstacles on the path. So hopefully in 2 years' time, you should see me graduate. But this is what it is. It is my confidence that I will be able to do it and I want to move ahead from it. So always face your fears, whatever fears you have. And again, you surround with your supportive people and you have your meditation and everything, so you can face your fears head on. Another thing that builds your self-esteem, self-confidence, do something that you're good at. So you'll tell me, why psychology? But I feel I connect well with people. I like talking to people. Though I'm an introvert, but I still enjoy listening to people or observing people, what they are doing. I analyze people a lot. And I think that's my passion. I wish I had gotten to study early on in my life, but they say it's never too late. So here I am. Important thing that I think most of us face is setting boundaries, especially in our culture, especially being a woman. Boundaries are very important. Now, again, you will ask me, what are boundaries? What kind of boundaries do we set? This is something that personally we'll have to work on. What kind of boundaries? Set boundaries in such a way that makes you feel that you're on the right way, that prioritize what is important to you. Okay? So I'll give you an example. Like if you're working and your boss expects you to respond to an email at night at 11, set your boundaries there. Your work hours and your non-work hours. This is one example that I can give. Or a relative expecting you to drop everything and be with them or buy for them something or whatever. Set your boundaries. This is the time I work. This is my time with my children. And these are times I can be with. These are just some simple examples that I can see in daily life. I'm sure everybody is facing, especially being a woman and family expecting you to do things. So of course, you'll have to understand where your boundaries are. Not everything is a no to everybody. This is my life. I can do what I want. Yeah. But just move with what makes you happy, what makes you feel good about yourself. So my priority is my walk from 5:30 to 6:30. I don't even take my phone. I just go for my walk and that's my time. And everybody in my family knows that. In fact, everybody at my workplace knows that. So they know Sajida is not available from this time to this time. And I've put my boundary and nobody calls me at that time. Even if they do, they'll just drop a message.
Okay, that's great. And I think boundaries, sometimes the lines kind of blur with boundaries. When we say, we're not saying no, and as you said, and we're not saying no all the time. We're just saying not right now, or not between these times. We don't want to take away our true selves when we put boundaries. And I do this, I do a lot of boundary setting as well at my work. And I always say, would the other person reciprocate the way you are? Does this take away your time with something that's more important to you? Do you find you're having to work over other times? And it's just something you're unable to do right now. Maybe the other time, yes. Another time, yes. in a different setting. And I think that's the message with boundaries. You really need to understand that we're not taking away, we're just creating boundaries for ourselves. And as you said, for our mental health, a lot of the stuff the tips and tricks that you have provided are overlap with our mental health and how important it is to maintain our mental health so that we're able to give. We always say, your cup needs to be full so that you can give. Otherwise, you're pouring out of an empty cup, you're not pouring anything out. And that's really, really important.
Definitely. Self-esteem is all about mental health. If you have low self-esteem, you'll see people suffering from different mental health issues. And we can even come up to suicidal thoughts because now you feel very low about yourself. You're not worth it. You don't need to be here. And I've seen this happening a lot in teenagers. They're already going to that boundary of thinking, I'm not worth, I need to be away from this world. And we need to be very careful. And I feel teachers, mothers, parents have to be very careful with how they deal with their teenagers, because it's not, the world just now with the social media is not easy. We had it easy, I think, but just now it's a lot of comparison, a lot of things that you see on social media, and the kids want to do the same things. And sometimes this makes their self-esteem go very low. They may be very confident, but their esteem is very low. So as parents, as teachers, as community members, we need to support and look out for these things.
So very true. And you mentioned social media. I think the one thing I would like us to start to discuss is, body image issues between boys and girls. And I know it's not only girls. Peer pressure, things where you're forcing. So these are the teenagers forcing themselves to conform so that they're popular or they're accepted. Or I see it a lot as well with teenagers. And again, the social media influence it's huge. The children don't know right from wrong. They don't know what is real and what is not real. And again, to navigate that, I know it's a big challenge for parents. And it's an even bigger challenge for the teens and for the children. What is your take on how to navigate that? And do you see a lot of body image concerns or peer pressure with the teenagers that you counsel?
The first thing I'll say is, as parents, we are models for our children. So if we put our phones down, or if we are away from social media, or we have a detox time, I think our children will learn from there. So it's managing, it's not saying no, but it's managing how they use this social media. Times like this, you cannot be a parent who is a very strict parent. You need to build a rapport with your children. Talk to them what's happening and validate their feelings. Sometimes they just need validation of, sometimes a child will come and say, okay, do I look fat? And just don't talk about this. But you need to sit down and say, what makes you feel that? Why are you asking me such questions? Simple questions. When they come to ask, as a parent, you need to analyze as to why is this child asking me that. There has to be something that made them ask this question. They must have read it somewhere, or somebody must have told them something. We should not ignore them, rather get to the bottom of it and see why would they ask a question like, just a simple question, do I look fat? Or are my pimples showing a lot? Figure out, where is this coming from? And that way you will see they will be quite confident in coming back to you and telling you what problems they face.
That is so true, in terms of having that connection with your child and being their friend, but again, with the boundaries.
Exactly.
Everybody needs to, the parent has their position, the child has their position. There's discipline involved in that. There's boundaries, there's consequences, but there's also very good communication and there's very good rapport, and they feel safe to discuss things. Very important, I think, with our children for today. So Sajida Bhai, there was one thing I wanted us to discuss, for the benefit of our viewers and our listeners. We're always taught to be humble or to practice humility. It comes from various contexts: religious, social, cultural. But when you're doing well, when you're achieving your goals, or you're moving up professionally, or you're doing well in your studies, how do you create a balance in terms of, you don't want to go above in terms of, I'm overconfident and I'm the smartest kid in the class, or I'm doing so well professionally, to the flip side where you find yourself downplaying your achievements. How do we manage that?
So one thing I should say, when you achieve something, celebrate it. Because you've done something, you need to celebrate it. However, always remember what you've achieved is from Allah and nobody else. And be humble in that sense that I would not have achieved this had Allah not wanted it. And that's where you create your balance. Yes, you are successful, you celebrate your success and tell people what you've done. But keep yourself humble in the eyes in such a way that you are a balanced person. You don't have that ego that I'm above all and nobody can reach me. However, you know your worth as well.
That's wow, insightful. And I think another good way, or something that I think personally resonates with me in terms of creating that balance is giving back. Giving back to the community that has supported you in whatever way the community has supported you. I really believe in random acts of kindness. And I think they go such a long way because it's random. It could be to a stranger, and it could be the tiniest thing is just holding the door open or just holding the lift for somebody. And it goes such a long way for that person. And we don't realize that ripple effect that it has. And I think for me, that is something that I've held on to in terms of, yes, you're progressing professionally, but how do I create that balance for myself by giving back to the community, by, allowing myself to say, you know what, it's not always about winning and it's not always about having X, Y, Z, but it's for me to be content. And I think we really forget that sometimes, that it's not success and it's not happiness that is really important, but it's contentment, being satisfied with what you have and being happy with that satisfaction.
In fact, I just wrote a paper, my research paper on kindness intervention. And this is really good. And how, when you are so my paper was all about stress and how kindness intervention helped that person with stress. And this is wonderful to hear. Yes, kindness, the small acts. And as Tanzanians, I would say we're very people with a lot of kindness, a lot of good manners. We say asante, or we say abarigani when we see people. So I've been to Kenya, and that's you don't see that over there. And when you go there and say, hello, how are you? And are you from Tanzania? I say, yes, I am from Tanzania. And how did you know? Because of the way you greeted us. Usually people there probably don't greet those askaris or the lower working people. So yes, kindness is very important. Even just asking them, how is your day today? Or do you have food today? I'll give you 1,000 shillings, go eat something. And it's not only for them. At the end of the day, it's how you feel about yourself when you do those small things. It doesn't have to be thousands and millions of shillings. It could be only 500 shillings. But if it makes you feel good, it satisfies what you're doing in life, the purpose of your life.
Exactly. It's the random acts of kindness and the small acts of kindness are really more for yourself than for the other person. Of course, it is a benefit for them, but it goes a long way for them and an even longer way for yourself. Sajida Bhai, thank you so much. It was an inspiring talk that we've had today. I definitely have identified places where I can work on improving my self-esteem, and the tips that you have provided for us today, taking a walk on the bridge, just connecting with nature. It's so therapeutic. The ocean is so beautiful in the evenings. It's a good way to connect. And I think the point that you made on reflection, on your daily kind of reflection, is a good way to kind of take stock of what was good today, what didn't go too well. And I would like to add what I can improve on. What can I do better tomorrow or the next day? And I think that really keeps us grounded. It keeps us in check. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a wonderful chat, and it's been empowering, I think. And Thank you, viewers and listeners, for joining us today on the podcast. I do hope you found it educational, empowering, and thank you again, Sajida Bai, for sharing your personal journey with us. And yes, thank you again, viewers. Please do stay tuned. We have 2 more coming up in the podcast series. So yeah, we look forward to all of you joining us. Thank you.